The three-time defending champs try to make it a four-peat, but it won't be easy for Oregon. Matt Barkley is back for USC. The Trojans boast a preseason top 5 ranking and are ready to try to return to the top of college football. Mike Riley and company have already put a disappointing 2011 behind them. Will Sean Mannion be the guy to lead the OSU turnaround in 2012? New faces in familiar places all around the pack. Rich Rod in Tucson, Mora in Westwood, Todd Graham in Tempe, and don't forget Mike Leach in the Palouse. He was the Pac-12's co-offensive freshman of the year in 2012. What will he do for an encore? We'll catch up with the Quack Mamba. The man at the helm of Beaver football has quite a job on his hands, but as the old saying goes, Mike Riley never lets him see him sweat. After suffering a devastating knee injury in Pasadena, this senior is back to try and finish his collegiate career on top. There's a building boom going on around the conference, and the Pac-12 is on the air. We'll check out the new digs in the Bay Area. Pac-12 football for 2012 is nearly here. We'll get you set for the season with a full 60 minutes of Inside the Pac. It rolls right now.
Yeah, I haven't looked back one time and haven't regretted this decision. It's been a great off-season for us and for me. I've enjoyed it 100%, and now it's really what I came back for this time of year.
The race is on as 4 Pac-12 teams get their seasons underway on Thursday evening, Stanford on Friday night, and then 7 more games Saturday as the 2012 season is now upon us. Hello and welcome to this season preview edition of Inside the Pac. Tom Ward here with you for the next 60 minutes, a full hour. Joining me for another season, it's Nick Krupke. And Nick, lots to be excited about for the upcoming season, but when you look at the schedule and you circle dates on the calendar, the conversation begins and ends with November 3rd at the Coliseum. We heard Matt Barkley right there at the top of the show. He came back just for this. He came back to trump Oregon.
Yeah, to me, you look at the Pac-12, it's kind of like 3 different divisions of quality, a team there. Oregon, USC certainly atop of each of their division, the upper crust there in the conference. For USC, the Ducks kind of kicked them while they're down, even though USC got the win at Autzen last season. But 2 Rose Bowls in that BCS title game while the Trojans were on sanctions. They are certainly back with Matt Barkley, the best quarterback in the country. The Ducks then counter that with a redshirt freshman quarterback who we'll see his first time. But the good thing is you kind of ease into things with the first 4 games at home. Well,
you mentioned the quarterback, and that happened on Friday. Chip Kelly coming out with the 2-deep chart. Marcus Mariota, if you've watched these guys, particularly that spring game, it was no surprise that Mariota got the starting nod.
Certainly he looked great that one day, and you don't want to read a whole lot into that one thing, but when you aren't allowed to see practice with the 2 guys, kind of how they competed. But in all signs proven to be that the Hawaiians certainly ready to rock for the Ducks.
And then in Corvallis, lots of questions coming off that 3-9 season, highlighted by that loss to Sacramento State. The Beavers open up against Nicholls State, similar fashion this year. Really don't want to stub their toe twice in a row like that.
I think pretty easy to say the Beavers are going to be ready to roll this time through. No overtime chance with the Colonels there. But again, they started 10 true freshmen at some point in time last season, 23 guys for their first time starting in college football. Certainly a chance at one more year under the belt, improvement for Corvallis.
You'd like to think that experience, he kind of paid his dues, Mike Riley did last year by those 10 true freshmen. You'd like to think that those things pay off this year for Oregon State. But when Darren Thomas decided to forego his senior season at Oregon and enter the NFL draft, there was a lot of skepticism, mainly about Thomas's future. Duck fans were disappointed in his departure, no doubt. But excitement soon took over after the spring game showed Oregon should have not 1, but at least 2 capable signal callers. Chip Kelly announced on Friday that Marcus Mariota will be the starting quarterback on opening day. Dirk Weishar with more on the quarterbacks competing for the job.
Bennett Ruddy, 3 receivers to the left, and that's where he wants to throw. Looks over the middle, nope, going to go way left, wide open, touchdown LT!
Redshirt sophomore Brian Bennett had the game experience and 1 more year at Oregon under his belt. But even with Darren Thomas's departure, Bennett still had to beat out redshirt freshman Marcus Mariota for the starting quarterback job.
I've done my best. I've given it everything I have. I've watched the film. I've gone out on a practice field and tried to do my best every day. I don't have any regrets of how camp went.
Mariota gave us all a glimpse of what could be in the spring game with an outstanding performance, completing 18 of 26 passes for 202 yards and 1 touchdown. while rushing 5 times for 99 yards and 2 TDs. That, combined with his camp performance, won him the job.
It's been a process, but I just took it day by day, and I didn't try to focus so much on myself, but just the team and trying to get the team better.
Heading into training camp, Mariota focused his attention on his teammates and the experience.
Continue to build that chemistry and just have fun. I mean, it's a game, and I'm really looking forward to this whole process and to have fun.
As far as we know, the competition was close throughout training camp.
I'm extremely excited. I think I'm more excited than you guys are. I'm in practice and I don't know, so.
In the end, Mariota won the job, but don't count out Bennett.
I mean, we've proven that we're certainly going to play a lot of guys, offensively, defensively, and on special teams, and so, wherever a guy ends up, we don't write that thing in Sharpie. It's going to be in dry erase marker, and guys have to still earn it each week and just get ready to roll.
Both QBs should get plenty of playing time in the first 3 games. For Inside the Pack, I'm Dirk Weishart.
Dirk, thanks. The only evaluation we can really make between Bennett and Mariota is from the spring game. Clearly, Mariota had the better day rushing and passing. The freshman threw 1 TD and ran for 2, including that impressive 82-yarder.
Yeah, Bennett did throw for 1 touchdown in the spring game, also, though, 2 picks. Last season, though, in 8 games, Bennett, 369 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no picks. It's like quarterback competitions in the recent past. Leaf Dixon, Kafta Masoli, Kafta Thomas. This year's QB battle came down to 2 capable leaders where the odd man out will still at some point in time see his playing time this season, especially early on when the Ducks could very well have 3 wins in the bag by halftime against Arkansas State, Fresno State, and Tennessee Tech. The noticeable difference between the two that some of the Duck receivers have said that Bennett's got a little more zip to his ball, while Mariota offers a little more touch. As for those guys that will be throwing to them and getting catches the ball there too, plenty of options. Got a speed burn down the field, of course. Josh Huff, pretty disgusted with his sophomore season a year ago. He's the most veteran of the group, Oregon's 3rd leading receiver last year. After transfer from San Mateo, Rashawn Vaughn played in 13 games a year ago. He's not on a 2-deep chart, though. His last go-around now in college football. The red shirts come off for Devon Blackman, Trackster B.J. Kelly. Both can really be game breakers. We've seen that in the past, at least in the spring game as well. Daryl Hawkins doing some things. He listed as a starter. Keenan Lowe had a great camp by all accounts as well. He's going to be a starter. Fellow sophomore Eric Dungy's in the mix too. Not to mention DeAnthony and Barner out of the backfield. Colt Lyerla at tight end. And by all accounts, the freshman Braylon Addison could be one of the breakout offensive stars this season. Talented but young, just 4 receivers on that roster have caught a ball in a conference game. A lot of folks want to see the freshman, one of those guys, the tight end. Interesting to see what Pharaoh Brown might bring to this program as well.
Well, certainly some drama brewing at that tight end position. Remember, Colt Lyerla missed the first week of camp for unspecified reasons, and he has been off limits to any interviews, and sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire.
Certainly.
So we'll have to see what is brewing there as this season goes along. But after back-to-back losing campaigns, the Beavers are eager to regain their winning ways. With 17 starters returning, optimism is high in Corvallis. Phil Milani takes a look at Oregon State's upcoming campaign.
Running left, shakes Rashad Reynolds, turns the corner. Big hole for Coleman into the secondary. Turns the corner and got in for the touchdown.
Last season, there was no running from Oregon State's problems. The Beavers couldn't stop the run, and they had no running game of their own, finishing last in the Pac-12 in both categories.
We're, banking on growth, experience, and we have some talented young guys that played last year. When you're 3-9 and everybody's coming back, that can be a good thing or maybe not so good.
17 starters are returning, but there'll be a new look at running back. After redshirting as a freshman, Storm Woods won the position battle in camp.
I'm definitely eating better, even lifting and studying more now that I know that the team's going to be dependent on me to help us win. OSU has a history of running the ball. Every time we have a 1,000-yard rusher, I think that leads to a bowl most of the time.
A successful running game will help take the load off sophomore quarterback Sean Mannion, who at times last season showed he had the physical tools to win.
Touchdown Beavers!
Now Mannion is also a vocal leader after being named the youngest team captain in Oregon State history.
The goal is to win the Pac-12 and to win the Rose Bowl, but as it should be. It should never be anything else. But that being said, we know it's a tough task, but we feel like we're up to it.
Sharing that vision is the always vocal Jordan Poyer. Considered to be one of the best cornerbacks in the nation, he's hoping to finish his Oregon State career with a bang.
Obviously, everybody feels 3-9 last year, and so we're, come out here with just a different focus, and it was just a different focus all off season.
For Inside the Pack, I'm Phil Milan.
As Phil mentioned, the Beavers couldn't stop the run last year, giving up nearly 200 yards per game on the ground. The rushing attack wasn't much better. They finished 118th nationally running the football.
We talked about them being young. They played 10 true freshmen, that record, a school record there. 17 starters coming back, little cause for hope there in Corvallis. On the edge of Rose Bowl berths in 08 and 09, the Beavers have collected only 8 wins the past 2 years. The run game was and needs to be vital again for Oregon State to get back to competing with the conference's best. You mentioned the numbers there, both the run offense and defense, a margin of deficit with the opponent last year, more than 100 yards per game. Coach Riley has said he would like to see about 1,800 yards total rushing on the year, nearly double their production from 2011 when they just went on 1,000 yards, just a little bit over that. Woods and Agnew can only go, though, as far as the O-line is going to open up some holes for them. Freshman Isaac Sayamalo, a huge improvement at center, but he's a freshman, all-state player at Corvallis High. Manning has said he really gets it, already a leader there on the O-line. Tackle Michael Phillip, back from knee surgery, needs to regain that All-American form he had his freshman year back in 09. Josh Andrews, healthy now, going to be leaned on to in his junior year. Those guys, Grant Anger, Colin Kelly, unlike last year, right now they're healthy. One thing for sure, and Tom, you know this, Mike Cavanaugh isn't going to put up with any mediocrity on the O-line one more time. You see Sean Manning in those interviews all fall camp long. He certainly said he worked on dealing with the media, kind of expressing his opinions, and he's the team leader. To be voted a team captain in his second season, and now he knows he's entrenched as a starter. All that upheaval early in the year last season with Ryan Katz, and now he's at San Diego State. This is Mannion's team, and certainly a chance for him now after a kind of touch-and-go situation his first year.
Well, no doubt that Oregon State with 7 home games, those 7 games are going to be key. We mentioned the Nicholls State game. Obviously, Wisconsin's going to be tough because they go on the road for some of the toughest road games in the Pac-12 at UCLA, at Arizona, non-conference game at BYU, Washington at the Clink in Seattle, and, of course, at Stanford. They get to host the Civil War, but the schedule, they really need to take care of business at home if they're going to have a winning record. Senior offensive lineman Carson York's Rose Bowl celebration was dampened because he was on crutches after a knee injury. Still to come on Inside the Pack. It was an emotional night for the leader of the O-line, but he's back for his final year in an Oregon uniform.
All that commitment and time and emotional effort and stuff had finally paid off as a result, and I think this year we're excited to sort of put that stuff in again and hopefully get a better result.
Plus, we'll go around the conference beginning in the North Division, and who can challenge Oregon in the North. We'll take a look. And as always, lots more Beavers, Ducks, and the rest of the Pac-12 online all the time at our website, InsideThePack.com. We're back after this.